Okay, I have never checked out a CoffeeZilla video. Like, I've watched CoffeeZilla. Let's be honest. I've watched CoffeeZilla. I like how he's basically an internet detective, finding out all the scams and that kind of stuff that goes on. I enjoy seeing that. I enjoy watching CoffeeZilla for that. I don't think I've ever reacted to one of his videos, so I'm gonna be checking that out. He just came out with like a little while ago exposing a. Oh crap! I thought that said 300,000. $300 million scam. $300 million scam. All right, let's check it out. Let's check it out.
My God-given gift was that people are attracted to me. People just naturally gravitate towards me. My circle of influence.
Okay. I'm a straight man, but I am confident in my own sexuality. I can gauge a man for their looks. I can't. I wouldn't deem him as that attractive. Like, for me, I don't think I'm that attractive, but I still think I'd be higher on the scale than he is. Because he just looks like I don't want to demean him for his height, but he looks short. He looks short.
Started growing. So natural.
Today, we're investigating one of the hardest cases of my career, a $300 million private equity company called Goliath Ventures, where the CEO was taking private planes, buying Rolls Royces, expensive mansions, while claiming that the whole thing was audited, back to 115%. They even took retiree money. I mean, what could go wrong? And when I was called to investigate them 6 months ago, I really had no idea what I was stepping into. Little did I know, this would be one of the toughest cases of my career.
I like his animations. I gotta say, one thing that would be nice for his opening is if he had like the scams he's called out, like I think it was like Save the Kid Foundation by FaZe, the whatever it was by Logan Paul, his thing, Sam Friedman, the one who did that massive fraud. Like, if he had like animations of them basically being booked behind bars as he's running past, I think that would be a nice little addition to his opening, because he's literally sentenced a lot of people. A lot of people are trying. Well, Logan Paul is trying to sue him for defamation because he called out his crypto scam on the little dino eggs or whatever it was.
So the first time I ever heard about Goliath was actually from another journalist.
My name is Danny Dehick, and I've been investigating Goliath Ventures since the 1st of September 2025.
That's Danny. He's a journalist who's been featured by the New York Times, and he told me Goliath was a company that had hundreds of millions of dollars invested, and something...
It's funny. It's funny. How could I call it out just by seeing him sitting on a chair? I didn't want to be that rude, but you can always tell how tall someone is, especially when they're sitting in those bulky leather chairs. Because when I sit in them, I feel like they're too small for me. One, I'm overweight. Two, I'm way too tall. So I got. At least I'm tall, but I'm hefty. I'm not obese, but I'm hefty. But I could tell just by seeing it. And the fact that again, confidence is key. You have to be confident in order to sell a shtick. If you're confident, people are more likely to follow you. The entire thing can be a lie, but they follow you just because you're confident in what you believe in. So how could this confidence guy ever be lying to us? A lot of people fall victim to that. That's how you end up with like tyrants. That's how you end up with, they kind of fall in the same field, cults. That's how you end up with scam artists. They're all kind of the same thing, just in a whole different coding. A whole different coding. They're all people taking advantage of others. All three of those.
It just didn't feel right. So my first question to him was, well, who runs this thing?
The man behind it all, Christopher Delgado.
Today's guest is someone real special. My friend, when I heard your story, I just zoned into it. I'm like, I have to have this gentleman on my podcast. Not one person, and I do my research. My team does a lot of research. We call people, and not one individual came back negative. Chris, welcome.
Thank you for having me, KB.
Chris, where you come from?
I'm originally from California. I'm first generation Mexican American. My mom was born.
Do I trust conventional media today? Not really. Not really. I prefer investigative journalists who literally do it online. Like I enjoy CoffeeZilla and his breakdowns and investigating fraud and not so much fraud, but investigating scams. And then there's like Nick Shirley, who's willing to go and investigate fraud. Things where all you need is a person and a camera. That's all you need. You don't need these massive buildings, these brick and mortar buildings, to try and tell you what's going on in the world. You just need someone who's willing to actually go out there and learn something.
In Aguascalientes, Mexico. She came over here in her early teens. We grew up in a trailer park in Fontana, California.
I'm just gonna draw a picture for y'all. Go on social media. I follow him very closely. Private jet. You see the celebrities. You see Patrick Bet-David standing next to you at the Yankee Stadium.
Which kind of media gets more views, pro-establishment or anti-establishment? There's a market for both. There's absolutely a market for both. And there's always going to be issues in both. A Make America Great Again hat. Again, it seems like he was... so if you're wanting to create an occult fan base or an occult grouping, you target one group. As long as you've targeted a niche audience, you can easily milk them for all they're worth. Again, you look at the Emily Hart situation, the Indian man who pretended to be a MAGA chick who was attractive, and tons of people just sent money to him. I mean, you respect the grift, even though it's still bad, but at the same time, it's like people are idiots. People are idiots. You have to target a group of people. You target a group of people, and sadly, the MAGA crowd, they're normally the working class, and so you target them because they actually have money. They work for a living.
But you come from a trailer park.
Yeah, it's actually, sometimes I look back at myself. I look at the things that I've been able to do and accomplish and where I'm at in life and who is in my circle and who I can call as friends, and I amaze myself. But I think a lot of that comes with opportunity. I don't think people really understand the amount of risks that I took early on in my life, not only my corporate career, but also even with
There's
my
nothing
company.
neutral. Yeah, there's
And
nothing neutral.
what
Everything
I
has
was willing
bias.
to do and what I was willing to lose to get to this part.
Now, let's be honest. If you saw that kind of story anywhere but on this channel, you might say,
The thing is, the way that plays out, it looks like one of those fake podcasting things. So I'm sure everyone has seen them when they're like doom scrolling, and then you come across this person who has like an inspirational clip as they're talking to a podcaster, quote unquote, and they're basically saying something inspirational, and you're like, oh, that person sounds like they're making sense. A lot of that stuff is staged. The majority of that is staged, where they pay someone to make it look like they're actually on a podcast, actually talking with someone, having some actual insight, and then to get garnish more followings, to garnish more followers. That's all it's about. A lot of it is fake, and that's how this this feels to me, because I don't recognize that podcaster. I don't recognize that thing. But the thing is, I'm not that heavily into podcasts as well. But a lot of people utilize the fake podcast situation to try and just garnish more views. To try and garnish more views, because everyone looks at them and go like, oh, that seems amazing. That person seems like they got their head on straight.
Chris represents the American dream. His mom is an immigrant. He came from a trailer park. He took risks. And by his early 30s, he's rich, successful. But when I saw this, the first thing I thought was, well, where's the pitch, right? I mean, just to state the obvious, this whole lifestyle on Instagram thing, the celebrity friendships, the story of overcoming all odds, it's pretty textbook marketing for a pitch, a sale. But with Goliath, it was like the opposite. No matter how much I watched clips of Chris, I just never found the pitch.
Would I be open, just knock on your door, hey Chris, I have some money, can I invest with you?
No,
But so like a private,
very private.
interesting.
My money, more of a consulting, even with Goliath.
It's private.
It's private. Even if you knocked on our door.
You're not getting in right away.
Yeah, no, we're a private equity firm. We only want to work with certain individuals, and we have a very structured model, and we don't want to bring people in that want to change that structure. This is the success behind the company. This
talks
is
too
how
slowly.
we're willing to operate and play with you with. And if you don't want to adhere by our rules or the structure that has had tremendous success, then you're just not the right partner for us. So
This was a private equity investment company, which means
New Android update? No, I haven't seen it.
Opportunity. This sounds too good to be true. That is too good to be true. That they kept around the friends and family. They didn't do any public advertising other than Patrick Mendavis event, I should say.
Could make passive income for myself, raise my family, and basically enjoy life.
And that's how all these schemes grow, is word of mouth.
Now, Danny's right here. Goliath was mostly run on word of mouth, and it was tough because of that to find claims early on because this thing was very hush-hush. It wasn't until I found someone who actually was on the inside, an investor, that I learned what this whole thing was about, why people were investing millions of dollars.
I got into Goliath via trust. I've heard a lot of stories of other people getting in from trust as well. And it was like a chain reaction. So I trusted someone who trusted someone who trusted someone that knew the director of partner services there, right? Trust can go a long way. I remember the day that I was
Sounds
told
like
about
a pyramid scheme.
And that was on February 9th, 2024. That was the day I was told about it.
Tell me what the pitch was.
I think the real pitch would be when you hear something's exclusive, something's one of a kind, something is, you know, there is that need to be a part of it. And I think the company was primarily playing on the fear of missing out. Everyone wanted to be a part of the elite crowd. I mean, that's how Apple cornered the market on a lot of their products, because everyone was like, oh, Apple is the greatest. Apple is number one. Everyone who doesn't have an Apple is a retard. That's literally was the mindset. That's how it was pitched. And that's how people portrayed themselves. So everyone got in on it. And I've always been of the mindset when everyone's the same, no one's the same. Or when everyone's the same, no one's unique, because everyone copies everything. Like, I lived in San Francisco, and I always had a joke. San Francisco is the place of the non-conforming conformist, because everyone would basically say, oh, I'm me, I will never change. Yet you ask every single person in San Francisco one question, they'd all answer it the exact same way. Because they're all the copy-paste person. They have to toe the line like everyone else in San Francisco. There's no uniqueness there. They're all non-conforming conformists because they all believe what everyone else is. They all believe the hive mind. They all believe the hive mind. That's the problem. I lived there. I saw it firsthand. They're all drones. They're all drones, but they sell that individuality in the garnish of, oh, you know what? You're your own being. You're definitely your own being. Just make sure you buy this brand of clothes. Just make sure you buy this Apple product. Just make sure you have these types of glasses. Just make sure you talk about this. Just make sure. Every single time. But yeah, I think it was primarily the fact, because when I heard him talking about the exclusivity, no, you can't reach out. No, you can't do this. So when people get notified, it's just like, oh, or they probably put their name on a register, and then when they finally got a notification, they opted into it.
To you.
You know, these guys within this private joint venture fund, they invest the money into liquidity pools. And I'm not going to tell you that I know I'm an expert in liquidity pools. I kind of knew how it worked. Sure, the returns were crazy, but I thought they were onto something.
And there it is. That's finally the pitch we were looking for. We discovered that Goliath is a company managing liquidity pools. And this is something I'm deeply familiar with from my past work. Better yet, my source gave me emails, contracts, and I immediately knew Danny was right. Something was wrong. Goliath claimed they were making all these profits from liquidity pools on Uniswap, which, based on my experience, would generate maybe 4 to 10% a year. Meanwhile, Goliath's contracts with investors said they would be paid 3, 4, 5% a month. And you could take payouts, or you could leave it in. You could do something they called hyper compound.
I only do it while streaming.
Obviously, those numbers don't add up. Goliath would be spending more money than they made.
Kind of.
But the problem is, Goliath is paying out at this point. And so no one wants it to stop. No one except for Danny, who wouldn't stop digging.
You need to look into my liquidity partners, because that's where it all started. It's a mirror image of Goliath Ventures. They registered the domain name for my liquidity partners and Goliath Ventures 20 days apart. I think Chris just copied their concepts.
Well, let's find out. Let's look at their website. It's dead right now, but pulling an old archive, we do see similarities. Liquidity pools run on Uniswap, allowing you to hyper compound. Then I saw this photo from Danny. That's Chris Delgado with Verlin Santiago, the creator of My Liquidity Partners, who allegedly fled to Dubai. Now, to be clear, My Liquidity Partners was found to be a Ponzi scheme. Could it be that Goliath was stealing another person's playbook and operating it as a private equity firm? I mean, it's obviously a big accusation to make. So I started digging through my old Ponzi cases and found another link, Trader's Domain, a Ponzi scheme I investigated years ago. I had all their insider emails, and I found within them Chris Delgado. He was emailing as a special investor trying to withdraw $1.3 million from a collapsed scam. And this is when all his old claims about taking risk came back to me.
I don't think people really understand the amount of risks that I took early on in my life not only my corporate career, but also even with my current company, and what I was willing to do and what I was willing to lose to get to this part.
At this point in the investigation, I'm like 99.9% sure this is just a Ponzi scheme worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah,
Chris is
that just
already involved with
breeds
some.
a
The numbers
Ponzi
don't make
scheme.
sense. And so I'm thinking, clearly I'm going to make a video, right? But that's when the first lawsuit dropped.
I have been sued in America, and the dumbest thing I could ever do is turn up in America. Hello.
Yeah, but they're going to try to bury you financially.
I'm already buried financially, because that's the crazy thing. In the lawsuit, my take on it is they are trying to tell me to back up the bus and scare tactics. Around about early October, Christopher tried to serve me.
So do you realise that those papers are from a company that has stolen $500 million from American investors?
Hey, Danny, I have no idea about that. You might be 100% correct, Danny, but I've got no control of that.
Yeah.
So I've just got to give them to you.
Yeah.
Got served.
Well, shit. I got to figure out what I'm going to do next. I got big problems, Maxwell. I got big problems.
Oh, geez, Coffee, don't tell me you brought a lawsuit into my bar.
No.
I think you can earn a living in America just by placing lawsuits on different people. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. There are people who have made a living off of it. Either they fake fall in like a Starbucks or McDonald's. There are people who have made careers out of this. Like just the dregs of society, some of the worst people. They sue the city because the rails aren't far enough apart. Like there's someone around the area I work. I go up the mountain and everyone talks about this lady. She'll travel around with a tape measure and make sure the aisles are to code in like stores and the walkways are to code, because if they aren't, she sues the city. I think they said she sued the city like 4 times, and she's never worked a day in her life because she's always suing the city, and then the city needs to correct the mistake. A lot of people do that for a living. They actually do sue for a living. And most of the time, especially for big companies, it's better just to settle than to actually fight it. It's better just to go like, okay, here's $10,000. You slipped in McDonald's. Here's $10,000. Just go away now. That's primarily what happens. And eventually they wear out their luck in a location, then travel to another location. But yeah, there are people that do that for a living.
I might get sued. This whole complaint, they sued Danny, and now everybody's freaking out.
Of course they're freaking out. Have you seen this guy's building? Chris has a lot of money.
Well, yeah, obviously, and that's the problem. I can't afford to get sued right now. But what?
Again.
What am I supposed to do? This ruins everything.
You can always report it to the government, not release a video.
You don't think that'd work? In this era? The odds are basically 0.
Coffee, I don't see how you have any other choice.
Maybe you're right. Maybe
No, their actions don't improve the
worth a
city.
shot,
It does
right?
nothing. Doesn't
Yeah, you
change
betcha.
anything.
All right, well, thanks anyways. Later.
Wait, what about your tab? Never pays his tab. Always comes out of my paycheck. Matter of fact, hold on. I'm his sidekick. He should be paying me. Yeah, here we go. Will CoffeeZilla release a video about Goliath Ventures? Not anymore. Big Maxwell bucks, here we come.
So, I don't really know how to say this, but it was at this point I decided to file a whistleblower complaint to the government. Sort of a Hail Mary. I mean, I didn't know what else to do. And yes, I know that's rich coming from the crime is legal guy, right? But what some of you don't know is I've done this several times before. Whenever I have enough evidence, I do feel it's important to not just make a YouTube video about it, but give the evidence to the proper authorities. That has continued even as our regulators have been gutted. Now, normally, I never talk about this activity because, one, a lot of times it goes nowhere, but also it can be sensitive, and so I generally don't talk about it. But in this case, it is essential to understanding what actually happened next, because without that whistleblower complaint, I was ready to give up on this case. I mean, I literally was like, what am I going to do here? I'm going to get sued if I talk about this, and like, what are my other options? But as I started to pull together evidence for this government tip, I got an email archive of Goliath's old newsletters. And I start to see more and more of what they've been telling people. And I just, like, I can't believe what I'm seeing. I mean, near the top, a financial audit.
They sent out a newsletter saying that they had an independent audit. And the independent audit come back and said 115% of investors' funds were secured for the whole year of 2024.
So to be clear, this is an announcement of an audit sent to investors to reassure them Goliath was backed 115%. Now, the key question is, who's the auditor? Who did the audit? Well, it turned out it was Black Block Management Services. Now, just the name of that company got people pretty confused right away.
I was on the phone to a fire lady and she was raving on about he's been in Forbes magazine. And I'm going, they pay for this. It's common. It's a sponsored advert. No interviewer, no name. And the funniest one, well, it wasn't funny, but they said, but they are they're invested with BlackRock. And I go, no, it's Black Block. And I said, go to my Black Block. It's very confusing. .com. And it's not, and that's in the contract. You've just
because they say Black Block, and I was like, wait a minute, BlackRock? That's a massive, massive company that owns like a ton of crap. I mean, I think they're having to resell a few of their land purchases because they were wanting what is it, Vanguard, BlackRock, and I think another one were basically buying up all the homes because they wanted people to be renting for a living and for people not in the U.S. no longer to own homes. But I think that got turned over, so they're having to resell it all. They're most likely going to get a profit, of course. But yeah, BlackRock, that's what I heard when they said it. And then you see, no, it's Black Block. Like, what the heck is that?
Heard it.
So Black Block, a fly-by-night company, not BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, is the actual people who audited this company. They are led by a guy named Matt Burks, and he's going to be very important to our story because this is when I started to first hear about retirement funds.
You want to know more nonsense? Those retirement funds that they rolled over. Or I'm still actually confused as to how they were able to take other people's retirement funds.
They took people's retirement funds?
Yeah. So people rolled over their IRAs, and I'm not saying that's as in I know anybody who did this, but that's what they also promoted the retirement fund stuff.
They promoted that?
Yeah, as in like they had like this team doing, I think it was Piers Curry is from what I've
Wealth
heard
MD?
the name. Yeah, something like that.
Now you can see the recognition from me there. My Wealth MD was this program I had seen pop up over and over again. Well, if you go to their page, who do you find behind it? None other than Matt Burks. The same person behind the audit company, BlackBlock, is the founder of My Wealth MD, and I got a copy of their investment contract. What I noticed is it looks very similar to Goliath's, but it gave you lower profits, only 2% a month for the first $1 million. And to make it stranger, Goliath Ventures was nowhere mentioned on their contract at all. Not only that, the website was clearly catered to older people, which concerned me. Unlike Goliath, they had videos of retirees endorsing the company.
Definitely recommend them in particular for any financial retirement goals. Yeah, I'd feel very confident giving his name out to any of my friends or relatives.
I would recommend to anyone, friends, people I care about, have him meet with them and discuss their issues because I feel sure he can help.
See, when there are people my age getting scammed this day and age because of their sheer stupidity not to actually look stuff up, then it's kind of their own fault for being retarded and not looking stuff up. But when it comes to someone like my parents' age or my grandparents' age, no. That's where I'm like, that's gone too far. They still don't know how to my mother to this day is still confused which controller to use to turn on the TV because there's like 14 different controllers. My dad knows. But when it comes to like more advanced technology, they're confused. They're confused. And there's nothing wrong with being confused, but they are like a easy gullible target. Like there have been times where I have had to take the phone from my father because he's on the phone sitting at the computer for like an hour trying to do what this guy on the phone is telling him what to do. And then I'm listening to the guy and I'm like, why does he need our IP? Why is he wants us to open a back door so he can have access to our computer and all the documents. Like, no, we're not installing this. No, you're not getting our IP address. No, it's just like so many times. This is the ridiculous part. This is the ridiculous part. Like, again, if you're my age, it's your own gosh dang fault for being retarded. Sometimes people feel down and then they fall victim to something. And that's kind of tragic too, but in this day and age where you can literally look up everything and most people have something in their pockets to look it up immediately, and they choose not to. They choose not to. It just speaks volumes of the laziness of society this day and age. If anything, things like TikTok, things like YouTube Shorts, things like Instagram Reels, things like that, the quick second dopamines, those have done more to ruin society than anything else because now people don't want to look things up. They're so used to getting immediate gratifications within 16 seconds. They can't look something up and then scroll through all the information, follow all the links. They just can't do that. They can't be bothered. When something could take 30 seconds on an Instagram reel or a TikTok reel or something, and then they can't spend 5 minutes to an hour investigating something. Oh, I think ChatGPT can help elders. Maybe. We'll see.
And I guess the question is this related to Goliath if their name's not on the contract? Well, that's when Danny found an insider meeting between Goliath and Matt Burks,
Thumbnail creator. Oh, that's nice.
how
That's
they'd be
nice.
managing retirement funds through MyWealthMD.
It's $1 trillion market, retirement accounts. So on qualified money, yes, essentially the way it works is whatever percentage they get paid. The fee over that just gets split between the referring partner, director, and WealthMD. That's how it works. WealthMD does all of the work. You're responsible for zero. It's just half and half. You do zero work.
Zero work for you. This is a room of basically recruiters for Goliath Ventures, and what they're told is they could get retirement money and funnel it into MyWealthMD, who would manage the back end and split profits with them. And then someone asked, when can we start doing this?
For us.
Wait.
Right now it's available.
Real
right
quick.
now. Yeah.
Time out.
Right.
Time out. Sit before you don't get too excited. If someone is currently at a job, they have a 401k, thrift savings plan, something like that, that money we can't touch. If they are currently making contributions into a plan that is not eligible for rollout in service.
There is one.
Get them to retire today.
This is why if someone has a qualified plan, you say, call Matt. I know those questions to ask. And so if there's a way to get the money out, I will get it.
Wow. When I saw this clip, I could not believe it. If there's a way to get the money out, I will get it. I mean, they were scheming to get retirement money, which types they could legally get. And from the testimonials on their website, it sounds like they did that.
We would meet yearly, and usually every time I came in, it was a pleasant surprise. The accounts going up, or they would find new accounts out there that I could transfer funds from one account to another and make a bonus money. So there was those kind of surprises, but and there was a lot of them. So yeah.
Is this not completely insane? They were hunting down retirement accounts to add to Goliath, and the same guy running the retirement money is auditing Goliath and saying it's back to 115%. Now, at this point, I finished my whistleblower report and I send it off to the DOJ program on October 24th, 2025. And I'm nervous because even on the best days, it's an uncertain thing. It takes forever. But I know that Chris Delgado is very well connected. I discover he's donated to key figures. He went to the White House. And guess who we met? FBI Director Kash Patel.
You are so fucked.
Why did it have to be Cash? I mean, of all the people, the one guy I've been talking about for months about Epstein, you don't think he actually saw those videos, right?
Copy. It's a side channel. Nobody cares about the Epstein files. Well, these videos have like a few thousand views.
1 million views, yeah.
Yeah, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Well, if you think so, I mean, I'll trust you. I just, because it actually gets worse than that. I mean, the worst part is that it doesn't stop there. He kind of, said that he might have Kash Patel in his pocket.
I have heard statements from Chris where he reckons that he's got Kash Patel in the bag.
What does that mean?
That means that he thinks that if he gets in the shit, that he's got Kash Patel.
You just have to imagine my morale on this case. It is at an all-time low at this point. I mean, let's look at the facts. Chris has retiree money. Supposedly, he claims he has Kash Patel. And what do we got? Well, Danny is getting sued by Chris. He's already broke. I'm being sued in a separate case. I'm trying not to go broke. And I'm thinking, we can't do this. This case is literally David versus Goliath.
Oh my gosh.
The deck is stacked, except instead of David, we have Danny. And instead of Goliath as a giant, he has frosted tips and a few $100 million. Or at least we thought he had a few $100 million. We weren't exactly sure. I mean, soon we learned he probably wasn't as liquid as we thought. Ponzi schemes have a way of doing that to you.
We heard from numerous sources that some people weren't getting
Yeah,
paid.
these
in
people
November,
these
and then
people are
later
not.
on we found out that
Pause. These people are not human. How can you even think of getting someone's retirement money for which the guy has worked? Yeah, the worked his entire arse off. Yeah, they work forever. They work hard, and then they should enjoy their twilight years with their loved ones. That's really how it should play out. But then the people come in scamming them, taking advantage of them. And honestly, seeing Kash Patel in that photo, I'm just like, ugh. I hope it's just one of those things where they go to the White House, they get invited. Rich and wealthy people are always allowed there. And then they shake the hands with the upper echelons. And then they use that picture to go like, hey, I have them in my back pocket. Like, that is just ridiculous to say. I mean, sure. The system's completely broken in the US, just like it is everywhere else in the world. We just do a better job of pretending it works. We do a better job of pretending our judicial system functions, but it's seriously broken. But yeah, that right there was just so disheartening. I'm like, oh my gosh, Kash Patel has been a failure. I was looking forward to him actually doing a good job, and then when he dropped the ball on the whole Epstein files, I'm like, you know what? Of course, that was also Trump's doing as well. But it's just like, dude, you should have just gone over his head. You're the director of the FBI. You could have just done whatever was right. And he chose, and now they're using the whole aliens are real diversion. It's kind of like, the way I see it is like a magician. You're looking at one hand, you're not seeing what the other hand's doing.
It went back to October that people had actually started missing their dividends.
So this is honestly the nightmare scenario that we were always trying to avoid, because when payments freeze, this is when it starts to hit the retirees, the investors, the hardest. They start to panic. They genuinely thought this thing was audited, backed. They were told that. And then they're scared to talk now too, because Danny is getting sued. So
Raid my
at this
house.
point, it's
Well,
November
then it proves they're
2025,
doing their
and
job.
I feel like I don't
I
know what to
welcome
do.
it.
So I just reach out to Chris Delgado. I don't know if I'm going to do a story, but I demand to see the Black Bloc audit details. Chris responds. He can't show me because he says that auditor is a witness in his case versus Danny. I ask how much money Goliath manages. Chris responds, hundreds of millions. Finally, I address the delayed payments. Chris claims he had to freeze the funds for a full forensic audit, and then says that they're actually going to be resuming. The next payments would come December 15th. Now, I was kind of surprised because that was only in a month that we'd find out the truth. Unfortunately, I later learned this is also what the investors were told.
I think that was just pulled out of his ass to make sure it wouldn't be awkward at the Christmas party.
Which we had people inside the event who had got through the security and were filming the inside of this event with Jason Derulo. This was like
Black Rock from
$5 million
Timo, yeah,
event
Black Bloc.
that was just over the top. The people that we had in the event were telling us that it was no expense spared. Meanwhile, all money was frozen. I think it was on the 12th of, no, maybe the 10th of December. And then Christopher took off back to Dubai on the 15th of December. And that was disgusting at that time.
So right before payments are supposed to come out, they have this big $5 million party with Jason Derulo. Investors are feeling good. And then, of course, the 15th arrives. Nobody gets paid. And, I don't know what to do. I feel terrible for people. But at the same time, nobody's talking. There's still this threat of a lawsuit. And I've contacted at least probably 100 people for this story at this point who had money in Goliath or knew about Goliath. And basically, almost all of them are terrified or embarrassed. And at this point, I'm wondering, if I can't get people on the record, how else can I establish from 99.9% to 100% that this thing is just fully fake? And that's when I did some more digging. Specifically, I wanted to focus on a certain map I had seen. This is a map of Goliath Ventures' money. It's something I put in my whistleblower report, and it basically explained how they claimed the money would be sent around. Basically, people were wiring money into Goliath that goes to Coinbase. Eventually, that's sent to Uniswap for liquidity pools, which then they paid people out of. And I realized, if this was on the blockchain, we should be able to see proof of this, like trace it back to these supposed liquidity pools. But where do we start? Well, I had some victims' crypto payout wallets that I decided to use. I traced them backwards through the payments because in theory, if Goliath is really using those liquidity pools, I should see payouts coming from wallets connected to them, right? And eventually, after I had done that, what did I find? There are no liquidity pools in this scheme. Well, there was a tiny little bit. What I found was a little over $20,000, but almost all of the money, tens of millions of dollars, was going straight from Coinbase to pay out old investors. And Goliath says themselves, the Coinbase money, where's it coming from? New investors. So
pyramid scheme. Absolute pyramid scheme. Again, the way they were seeding people in, it was the fear of missing out. It was the, no, you're not allowed. You're not allowed. You have to be a part of this tight group in order to get accepted in. You're not allowed. You're not allowed. You're not allowed. That's how they get those people, especially the younger ones. The retirement ones, they were just easier targets. They were easier marks. Pretty much after that, that's when it became like only the elites are allowed in. And then they started sending out emails to people who probably put their name on a register. It's like, I want to be the next in line for this. I want to be the next to receive notification to be welcome into the fold of the Goliath system.
Putting this together, new money goes to Coinbase, which pays out old money. And it was at this point I excitedly brought my results to Danny to see what he thought.
So there's no incoming money.
Where do they have it?
So that's a graph of a Ponzi scheme. This is brilliant. So that's fantastic. So that's great. I mean, that's just everything they've said has just been just done very simply, which is it's actually quite disturbing. That.
Why do you say that?
This is not AI. This is all green screen. It's all done on green screen. Yeah, CoffeeZilla has a what does he call it? A $10 million studio, which is literally just a green screen behind him. That's why it all looks weird. That's why it gets cut every now and then, because when they start moving a lot, it starts to glitch a bit. It starts to glitch a bit. Like you see it from a certain angle at the back of his head, it starts phasing through. But yeah, this is just absolutely insane. absolutely insane. And I guess like he knew it was corrupt, but he didn't have the know-how to follow the blockchain to find out where all the crypto wallets, where they're getting paid out, because money leaves a trail. Even in the crypto world, it leaves a trail. So yeah, CoffeeZilla has spent so much time in that. I mean, I'd take a while to learn all that because it's all just everyone's code, everyone's crypto wallet, just a bunch of numbers and letters, I think. I don't have cryptocurrency. I don't believe, I guess money itself is just a fictional nonsense to begin with. But yeah, I already have money. I don't need to invest in like cryptocurrencies as well, even though the US dollar is a cryptocurrency. It's only as powerful as people believe it is. But yeah, this guy wasn't able to follow the blockchain, wasn't able to follow the trail. But now that CoffeeZilla has showed it before him, he's like, oh, yeah, this is definitely a pyramid scheme. Of course it's a pyramid scheme.
Well, they've just lied to everybody. They've just said that they were doing something. And I'm not crypto clever. And all of a sudden, they've been telling everyone they've been doing pancake swaps. And somebody told me to say, oh, well, it doesn't make enough money to do the type of liquidity they are doing. And here we are, we've just got a graph in front of us here where it just shows there's no trading. It's a straight Ponzi scheme right here.
By now, I had all the pieces. I had the pitch, I had the proof, I had the Ponzi. I had done my best to report this thing, but people are not being paid at this point, and I don't care anymore. I mean, I'm going to go public, whether I get sued or not. I've done my best to do all the due diligence I can. And so it was at this point, I start writing the story. And right as I do, right before I filmed it, the craziest thing happened.
Orange County man charged with running a multi-million-dollar Ponzi scheme posted $1 million.
Just imagine if he had gotten it out right before. Just imagine his CoffeeZilla's face would have been plastered everywhere. This man discovers a Ponzi scheme that has been around. Like, oh my god!
Bond earlier today.
The Justice Department says Christopher Delgado stole more than $328 million, but instead of investing it in cryptocurrency, he pocketed the money. And only we were there to ask him about it as he left the federal courthouse.
Mr. Delgado, West 2 Investigates. Can we talk to you about the charge against you?
West 2 News was the only news organization outside the federal courthouse says Christopher Delgado left the building. An ankle monitor now installed to track his whereabouts pending trial.
You can contact my counsel. Have a blessed day.
Meanwhile, Delgado left the federal courthouse Wednesday in a Rolls Royce.
You cannot imagine my shock when I saw this. Christopher Delgado was charged with running a $328 million Ponzi scheme.
I wonder if they actually looked at his documents that he had sent over to the FBI. Maybe they had a peek at it. Maybe they had a peek at it. Because, again, it just takes someone who looks at the documents who's actually a good person to go like, all right, we need to do something about this. Sure, there is an absolute bunch of criminals that just wait for a paycheck to come in and they don't care about actually doing their job. And I'm well aware of that. The government is very slow. I'm still waiting on the visa process. That kind of stuff is absolutely aggravating. Absolutely aggravating. But the fact that he sent it out, he's waiting, he didn't hear back anything, and then the next thing he knows, the person's getting arrested. I mean, they most likely listened to him. They most likely followed what he said. And it's like, yes, this is exactly how it's supposed to operate. People who have information. Sure, does the FBI receive thousands upon, well, probably millions of false claims? Yeah, they do. They do. Of course they do. It's the FBI. You have those crazy nut jobs, the wackadoos. Then you have people thinking they've stumbled across some kind of a scheme, which so of course a lot of it gets lost. A lot of it gets lost, and they just don't pay attention to it. But finally, they actually look the right direction. And I think there should be people who will get more credibility. Maybe the person who looked up the file is a fan of CoffeeZilla and is like, you know what? If he's sending it in, let's look into it. And who knows? Maybe every time coming forward, every time he submits something to the FBI, his email goes to the top of the list because it's approved to be actually something legit.
And almost better than that, immediately afterwards, I found out that the lawsuit against Danny got dropped in full. And this is where I really have to say, I have no clue, honestly, how much or little of my whistleblower report was used. I give full credit to the team who actually investigated and charged Chris for chasing down the facts. However, what I do know is that Danny was a massive help to everyone. The amount of information this guy dug up, along with his team he calls the Avengers, is just staggering, and I really have to give them credit. But honestly, if it hadn't been for me trying to get this whistleblower report, this video probably wouldn't have existed. I would have dropped the case for sure. It was only chasing down those last things, trying to prove this, even though I knew there was really nothing I could do, that drove me to get to this point. And given that Danny was such a huge part of that, I'll link his Ko-fi account if you want to support his work. He didn't ask me to say this. I'm doing it because I happen to know that financially he's not doing amazing. Let's just say investigative journalism, when you're being sued, is not very easy and you need lots of support. But honestly, this whole thing felt surreal, and I knew Danny had to be my first call when I heard the news.
Danny DeHeck, we finally got the news that Chris Delgado got arrested today. You were the first person I had to call. What was that like emotionally?
Well, I didn't absorb the information. It was just ridiculous. I did have a lot of interesting parts because I was talking to Homeland Security at the same time, and they didn't know he'd been arrested, or that they couldn't provide me any information about the arrest. And I said, well, I've got the document here. Because he rang me because I gave him the actual court filings, and he said, we haven't got that yet. How did you get it? I said, I could tell you, but I'd have to shoot you.
It's unbelievable. I'm shocked. They never move this fast.
So John, who heads the investigation, said he's been investigating for 20 years, and he said this is the fastest that they've ever got an indictment done.
It always takes, Danny, let me tell you, it always takes years. Even I was just interviewing you a moment ago, and we were both talking, this is never gonna happen.
When I found out, I actually burst into tears, mate, I'll tell you. Even when I got back to New Zealand, my partner was taking a photo of me walking through, and I just burst into tears. It's just hits you like a ton of bricks, this sort of stuff. And even just before we talked to you today, I've just found another lady that's in Canada, 230,000 odd, put $100,000 in, sold her house, put the proceeds of her house into the investment, and also put some credit card money in there, and now she's just realised it's a scam, and she doesn't feel like she's got anyone to help her.
It's brutal. This has affected so many lives so negatively. I'm so happy that he's getting charged, as he should.
We don't even really want this sort of result. You know, it's not why we do it. It is actually just trying to make a difference. The power of our investigations is where I'm prideful of that. The team that I have of volunteers is absolutely first class.
This is not a pyramid scheme, because if it is, then every person who is making other person invest is just commission worker. Well, it is a pyramid scheme because the first people in are the ones to make a profit. That's how a pyramid scheme works. And as the pyramid scheme runs its course, eventually the hype dies, and this happens with every pyramid scheme. So the people who are the last to enter are the ones left with nothing. Let's say I enter a pyramid scheme and then I promote it, and then other people enter behind me, and they're most likely going to lose everything as I slowly make money. Why? Because all those people, those 1 to 2 people who joined on my recommendation, it adds it to my account. That's how pyramid these pyramid schemes, these Ponzi schemes work. That's primarily how it works. You're constantly paying in to those at the top, and then the people at the top are always taking a cut of everything. Eventually nobody has any money, especially if they leave the money in there too long. It all just somehow vanishes.
I can't believe we got it. We got it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are we celebrating?
The bet finally paid off. Yeah.
Wait, you knew about the bet?
Of course. What do you mean? It's your idea. Go all in.
Let's make a pyramid
all right,
scheme.
I wasn't expecting you to be so cool about it.
Cash came through. Cash came through.
That's what I'm talking about. All right.
I never thought. I've been making fun of him for a long time.
I'm saying,
But they got him. They got the arrest.
Wait. What?
Chris Delgado. They got him.
Oh no.
You pulled it together. I'm proud of you.
Hold on, I gotta make some calls.
Yeah, you take whatever call you need, champ. You take whatever call you need.
No, yeah. Yeah, no, the deal's off. The deal's off. Pull out. Pull out now. Oh, God.
What? Are you crying?
I can't cry. You know I can't cry. I'm very sensitive about that.
I thought you'd be so happy.
You sold me out. You knew the whole time, didn't you? What happened to crime is legal?
That was last year. I mean, this is, I guess they catch some of them. We were wrong about that a little bit.
I blew it.
Crime is partially legal.
I'm gonna have to sell my figurines. Curse you, Cash Patel. Why? Why?
Well. You've made it to the last part of the video, but not the end. This is the part where we watch all the fine folks at patreon.com/CoffeeZilla who make this show possible. You guys know we don't do sponsorships. We don't shill out to private equity. Okay, this is an independent show because of you. And actually, we have a brand new investigation that just went live related to this video. We actually had a whole new investigation spawn. We opened a cold case.
This is CoffeeZilla.
Basically created by a UFC Hall of Famer who exposed a Ponzi scheme. Super interesting story. And it intersects with this one in a fascinating way. You'll see some players from this. And it's only available right now on patreon.com/CoffeeZilla, as are all early episodes ad-free. So if you enjoy this video, you enjoy content like this.
CoffeeZilla primarily does content on finding and breaking schemes like Ponzi schemes, scams, things like that. That's primarily what he does, and a lot of influencers hate him. A lot of influencers hate him, especially those who have pushed cryptocurrencies, especially those who have done something. Anytime CoffeeZilla gets involved, they're afraid. Especially if they've done something shady, even if he isn't aware, they start walking on eggshells or walking on glass because they don't want to worry about it. They don't want to ever get put in his limelight, because as soon as he investigates, doing interviews and everything. But yeah, I did enjoy that. I am glad that the person was actually detained. I'm glad that they actually went off. Hopefully it was off the information that was given, and hopefully now they will actually start taking more cases seriously that are submitted forward. Sure, there are a lot of false cases. There are. I mean, maybe in some cases, someone who's just lazy will see several stacks of files that are pushed before them. They might just shove a few stacks off their desk and into the trash, and then just go through like one or two other stacks. Yeah. You mean Instagram and TikTok influencers? Yeah. He's Logan Paul suing him for calling out his scam. He's done a few on the FaZe kids, the FaZe clan, whatever it's called. Yeah, he's done multiple, and yeah. Even like before, I think Sam Berkman-Fried, whatever that guy was, like he was calling out his scam before everyone was calling it a scam, before everyone realized it was a scam.
You guys got a video? It's so bad.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Wait like that.